to the 6v6 trailer and release, I felt compelled to write and express my opinion about the fact that all parties seem to be chasing the wrong problem, and are thus looking at the wrong issue when it comes to 6v6 versus 5v5. In short, my thesis is that the game always has and often introduces characters and elements that are inherently unbalanced and never can really be balanced in a way Blizzard is likely to achieve with these characters. Therefore, the problem isn't whether we should have 6v6 or 5v5, but whether we can balance the game properly and then see which is better, or allow both to coexist. As a gold player since OW1 launch, I will now provide some examples of what I mean from my years of experience and prove that the fundamental imbalance of a few problem heroes largely makes the game unplayable whenever any of them are present. I'd like to provide examples from each category. In games, I love freedom of mobility, so naturally, I was drawn to Pharah on release. I loved playing as her, zooming through the sky and angling for just a few shots on a support at the right time to quickly close a fight just as it was starting, quick, efficient, and an obvious path to success. The strategy worked on all supports, even Ana with the extra hitscan to counter you and Lucio. Hard as he was to pin down, his pathing could be predicted, shelled, and whittled down over time. Then Moira was released. The thing about Fade is that it is a bullshit ability in that a support, especially, should not have a get-out-of-jail-free card that leaves no trace of her trajectory, no clue as to her final destination, no long cooldown to punish her with once you or a teammate finally find her, and she can heal herself completely with a healing orb once she reaches her destination. What part of that can be predicted or outplayed? You can outplay it as a team if she goes to the wrong spot or the fight is already won, but otherwise, by the time you find her again to punish her after noping out, you likely will not be able to kill her then either. The ultimate form of this is that many Moiras know they can engage in the backline, drain you all day knowing that even if you shoot her with a full clip until she's at 25 health, she'll just vanish, leaving you with wasted time and nothing to show for it, and an even bigger threat still untouched in front of you. Or, you can ignore her, kill the main threat in front of you, and let her run rampant in your backline, getting kill after kill. Again, which option am I supposed to choose here? What is the right and only correct response? Let's look at the game from another perspective, something I soon became more intimately familiar with after my early stint as a Pharah main, tanking. Roadhog is a perfect example of an inherently imbalanced character, always has been and likely always will be as long as he's a tank. Let me explain. Aside from the one-shot, with a combo now, capabilities that he has as a tank, and aside from his self-healing and ultimate, with its ridiculous and comical amount of knockback, the basic and inherent premise of a hook on a tank character is flawed from the start. I know this seems the norm, as we are used to far worse versions of Piggy from the past 8 years, but my recent experiences in Star Wars Hunters, a mobile and Switch Overwatch clone, shed some light on this matter. In Star Wars Hunters, there's a droid character named J3DI, a droid Jedi, who wields a lightsaber, cool as hell, right? I mention him because his entire kit is a short-range melee weapon, lightsaber, the ability to hold a trigger to guard and reflect shots with a meter that depletes with every reflected shot and recharges when not used, and lastly, a hook that auto-targets when looking close to a target, with a range and cooldown similar to Roadhog's. Also, J3DI is a DPS character, and has about 200 health, compared to that of a 400+ health tank in the game. This means that not only does J3DI often have to hook someone just to get within striking range, but either with or especially without his team, if he hooks the wrong character, like a tank, he likely will die because of it, or be bringing the enemy tank right where they want to be. Clearly, the only responsible way to kit a character with a hook and reel mechanic in a game is by making them a squishy DPS, thus making them vulnerable to strong tanking abilities, and forcing them to be more selective when choosing hook targets. Now, we all know Roadhog as a big, fat tank with a big, fun, and deadly, gameplay simplistic hook, but if some real hero redesigns were considered, and some real gameplay questions asked of ourselves, perhaps would have fewer players like myself uninstalling the game when tanking becomes impossible and instead opting for a more balanced, fun, and fair experience, like on the Switch. Perhaps if the game were truly fun, fair, and balanced, more people would queue for tank, and we wouldn't have to deal with ticket rewards for flex games, lol. To bring this back to the 5v5 versus 6v6 debate, tanking for me often means either holding back a wall of heroes at the choke or letting them through to deal with the tank diver in my backline about to confirm an elimination. No matter my choice, I know that in those situations, having an off-tank to engage that target, duel or drive them off, and save my teammate while I hold the front line is the only correct decision. I just hope that one day, Blizzard balances the game to a point where that's possible, rather than letting one side roll over the other with broken abilities, mechanics, and heroes. Now, I'll get back to Hunters, you should too, until they fix OW. It's a much better game, even if it is on the Switch, lol. Often the only way to get something to change is by not supporting it at all. Playing a game is tacit compliance of acceptance and approval. Perhaps if enough people stopped playing Overwatch and turned to other more balanced, fun, and fair hero shooters, Blizzard would finally take stock and save what they can from the game. For the record, I'm a Wrecking Ball main. He's my favorite character in any game ever, and I love his movement and the adaptability of transforming between ball and crab forms, with the 4 different speeds that open up a world of options. But if those options are just to die, or spend all day in meaningless fights while the enemy tank runs over my team, or a big, tanky Roadhog is there waiting for me, I might just get my Wrecking Ball fix elsewhere. We are Venom. Marvel Rivals, I'm looking at you.